Wait, did WWE just pull off the biggest betrayal in wrestling history, or are we about to witness the most epic reunion that will absolutely destroy the entire roster? Because what I'm about to tell you will make your blood boil, and here's why you need to hear this before Survivor Series happens. What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because we're about to dive into something that's going to shake the entire WWE universe to its core. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're either going to be jumping out of your seat with excitement or absolutely furious at what could happen. Now, before we get into the meat of this, I need you to do something for me. Drop a comment right now telling me if you think Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns should ever reunite, or if the Shield should stay buried in the past where it belongs. Because I guarantee you, half of you are going to disagree with what I'm about to say, and that's exactly what makes this so incredible. Let me paint you a picture. Survivor Series is around the corner, and the WWE universe is buzzing with speculation, rumors, and downright chaos. We've been living in an era where Roman Reigns has been the tribal chief, the head of the table, the absolute undisputed top guy who has dominated everyone and everything in his path. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins has been doing his own thing, being the revolutionary, the visionary, carving out his own legacy separate from Roman's shadow. These two haven't stood side by side as brothers in arms for years. The Shield, that legendary faction that changed WWE forever, has been nothing but a distant memory, a nostalgia trip that WWE loves to remind us about whenever they need a cheap pop. But what if I told you that everything is about to change? What if the impossible is about to become reality? Here's where it gets absolutely insane, and this is where I need you to pay attention because this could either be the greatest moment in modern WWE history or the most disrespectful slap in the face to every single fan who's been invested in these storylines for the past decade. Think about it. Roman Reigns, the guy who turned his back on everyone, who became the most dominant champion we've seen in generations, who literally changed the landscape of WWE with his bloodline story, suddenly needs help. The same Roman who told us to acknowledge him, who stood tall above everyone else, who made it clear he doesn't need anyone. And Seth Rollins, the man who betrayed the Shield in the first place, the architect who drove that steel chair into the backs of his brothers, who has spent years trying to prove he's better than everyone, especially Roman, suddenly wants to reunite? Are you kidding me right now? But here's the thing that's making this absolutely brilliant and infuriating at the same time. The bloodline has been crumbling. Solo Sikoa has been making moves, Jimmy and GUSO have had their issues with Roman, and the cracks in the foundation that Roman built are starting to show. For the first time in what feels like forever, Roman Reigns looks vulnerable. He's not the untouchable god he once was. He's a man who might actually need backup, who might need to swallow his pride and reach out to the one person who knows him better than anyone else in that locker room. And that person is Seth freaking Rollins. Now let's talk about Seth for a second because this is where it gets even more complicated and emotionally charged. Seth has been on a roller coaster for the past few years. He's been the man, he's been injured, he's come back, he's reinvented himself more times than we can count. But there's always been this underlying current, this unfinished business with Roman. Every time they've faced each other, there's been this intensity, this history that you just can't fake. These guys came up together, they conquered WWE together, they were brothers before they were enemies. And no matter how many times they fought, no matter how many brutal matches they've had, there's always been that connection, that bond that was forged in the fires of their early days. So imagine this scenario at Survivor Series. Roman is in trouble, surrounded by enemies, maybe it's the new bloodline turning on him, maybe it's a collection of superstars who want to finally take down the tribal chief once and for all. The crowd is going absolutely ballistic, Roman is down, and it looks like it's finally over for him. The arena goes dark. And then you hear it. That iconic sound, that Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta, that music that makes every single person in that building lose their minds. The Shield's music hits, and out walks Seth Rollins, in the tactical vest, ready for war. But he's not alone. The camera pans, and there's Roman, getting back to his feet, and for the first time in years, these two lock eyes not as enemies, but as brothers who are about to remind everyone why the Shield was the most dominant force in WWE history. Can you imagine the eruption? Can you imagine the absolute chaos that would ensue? Social media would break, the WWE universe would be split down the middle, and everyone would be talking about it for months. But here's where I need you to think critically, and this is where you might start getting angry with me. Is this the right move? Does this make sense from a storytelling perspective, or is this just WWE desperately trying to recreate past glory because they can't come up with anything original? Because let's be real for a second, the Shield reunion has been done before. We've seen them come back together, we've had those feel-good moments, and then it always ends the same way. Someone turns, someone leaves, and we're right back where we started. The difference this time, and this is what makes it potentially incredible, is the stakes. Roman isn't the same guy he was during those previous reunions. He's evolved, he's changed, he's become something entirely different. And Seth has his own demons, his own journey that he's been on. If they reunite now, it can't just be a nostalgia play. It has to mean something deeper. It has to be about two men who have traveled completely different paths, who have become their own legends, recognizing that sometimes you need to go back to your roots to move forward. It has to be about respect, about acknowledging that what they built together was special, and that even though they've both grown and changed, that foundation is still there. Think about the matches we could get. Think about Seth and Roman standing side by side again, destroying everyone in their path. Think about the promos, the intensity, the storytelling potential. These are two of the best performers in the world right now, and putting them together could create magic, but it could also create disaster if it's not handled correctly. If this is just a quick pop, if this is just WWE trying to boost ratings for one night without any real plan or purpose behind it, then it's going to feel cheap and it's going to make fans even more cynical about the product. We've been burned before by WWE bringing back nostalgia acts without proper follow-through, and nobody wants to see the Shield reduced to just another cheap moment. So what's the verdict? Should this happen? Absolutely yes, but only if it's done right. Only if there's a real story being told, only if there's legitimate reasoning behind it, and only if both Roman and Seth are fully committed to making this work as characters. This can't be Seth just showing up to help Roman and then disappearing. This has to be the beginning of something new, something that respects what came before while pushing both characters forward. Maybe they reunite but it's uneasy, maybe there's tension from the beginning, maybe they're only together because they have a common enemy and once that enemy is eliminated, all bets are off. That's compelling storytelling. That's what keeps people invested. The bottom line is this, and I want you to really think about this before you comment. The Shield reunion at Survivor Series could be the moment that saves WWE's main event scene and creates fresh, exciting storylines going into WrestleMania season, or it could be the moment that proves WWE has completely run out of ideas and is just recycling the past because they can't create new stars. Which one is it going to be? That's up to WWE, that's up to Roman and Seth, and honestly, that's up to us as fans to demand better storytelling and not just accept whatever's thrown at us. So drop those comments, let me know what you think. Are you team reunion or team leave it in the past? Smash that like button if you made it this far, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one where we break down everything that happens at Survivor Series. Peace.